Okay, good morning or afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to the mathematics lesson. The lesson is for S3, but it can be used for on S4 as well, or a bright set 2. Okay, so to start with, we're going to have a 30-second mental test, and the mental test is on the board. It's just reviewing a little bit of what you've done in S1, S2 on algebra. Off you go, you've got 30 seconds from now. Got about 15 seconds left. Got about 5 seconds left. Well done. Let's have a look at the answer. Now, should have for your first one, your triangle being 16. For your second one, you would have your triangle being 17. Your third one, your triangle being equals to 9. Fourth one, you should have your triangle equals to 15. And your last one, triangle equals to 3. If you've got all 5 correct, well done. If you've got 3 or better, good. Okay. Now, just to go over 2 answers, just to ensure that you've got 4 plus something is equal to 20. So, think about a number that would give you, when you add to the 4 to give you 20, there are different ways you can count on. Or what you can do is do the takeaway, 20 take away 4. And we'll go over 2 more. You've got a triangle, divide by 3. Remember, this line means to divide. Divide by 3 equals 3. So we're going to do 3 times 3 equals to 9. And one last one we go over. You've got 2 triangles. Yeah, that's meaning 2 times the triangle. That's equal to 30. A number times 2 to give you 30, or you do 30 divided by 2, and that would give you 15. Well done. Now, we're going to have a look at the aim of the lesson. The objective today, it's to solve linear equation. That's our objective, to solve linear equation. Now, to solve linear equation is something you've done in the past. You've done in S1, you've done in S2. Okay, so we're going to do a brief recap of one-step equation. We're going to do a brief recap of 2 steps equation, and then we're going to focus on 2 steps equation, including the fractions. Okay? So a bit of a recap in the previous bit. Now, just to give you an example of linear equation, so you're aware, now we've got 7 plus x equals to 12. That's a linear equation. We've got y divided by 5 equals 15. Another linear equation. One more. We've got 3y take away 6 equals 15. All these are linear equations because you're going to get only one answer. Okay? So get ready. We're going to work on a few examples. Okay. When you solve equation, know that you are going to do the opposite. The opposite of addition is subtraction, or the inverse operation. Yeah? The inverse of add is to subtract. The inverse of subtract is to add. The inverse of add, multiplied, is to divide, and the inverse of divide is to multiply. So we're going to apply this as we go along. Now, few things you need to be aware when you are solving your equation. Keep the calculation neat. Keep the equal symbol lined up throughout your calculation. Keep the balance on both sides of your equation. That is, whatever calculation you do to the left-hand side needs to be done to the right-hand side. And we're going to go through a couple of examples as we go along. To start with, we'll have a look at a simple one. Now remember, what we're doing now is just the recap of your S1, S2. Now we've got x minus 5 equals 12. What is the goal? Your goal here, or your aim here, is to have x equals to a number. Okay? Now, what must go in that calculation? What must go? It's the minus 5. Now, please note, I've said minus 5 must go, not only 5. Minus 5 must go. How will the minus 5 go? You do the inverse operation. I said earlier on, the inverse of the minus would be a plus. So we're going to do x minus 5 plus the 5. I also said whatever you do to the left-hand side must be done to the right-hand side. Okay? So that's equal to 12. I'm going to keep my equal sign. Okay? So I've got x equals to, I've got x minus 5 plus 5 equals 12 plus 5. Okay? So here I've done a plus 5 because the minus 5 must go. So what I'm left with is just 5. Minus 5 plus 5 are 0. On that side here, I've got 12 plus 5, that's 17. You can see I've got my equal sign lined up and I've come to the end of my calculation. X equals to 17. We'll take one more example. Okay, so I've got y over 2 is equal to 7. That line here means to divide. So I've got y divided by 2 equals 7. What is the goal? To have y equals to a number. What must go? The divide 2. Note, I haven't said only 2, I've said divide 2 must go. How? We do the inverse of divide by 2. And the inverse of divide is to multiply. So I've got y divided by 2 multiplied by 2 equals 7. Whatever I do to the left-hand side must be done to the right-hand side. So I multiplied by 2. Okay? Divide 2 by the 2, this go. Yeah? So divide by 2 times by 2, they can cancel each other. So I've got y equals to 14. And that's the final answer. Okay? We'll do one more. And then it's your turn. 3x equals to minus 27. So I've put in a negative number because there are able students in here. Okay? Now, remember when you did in S1 and S2, what's in between there, it's the times. In algebra, the multiplication sign is not written. Okay? So 3x would be 3 times x equals to the minus 27. Okay? What is the goal? To have x on its own. X equals to a number. What must go? It's the times 3. The times 3 must go. How do you do that? You do the inverse of times 3. And the inverse of times 3 would be divide by 3. So I've got 3x divide. Remember I told you that line means to To divide, this is to divide by 3 equals minus 27 divided by 3. 3 divided by 3, this goes. Okay? And minus 27 divided by 3, I've got x equal minus 9. Okay? Now, 3 things I've insisted on right at the beginning. Keep your calculation neat and tidy. Have the equal sign lined up throughout. Line up your equal sign throughout. And then whatever you do to the left-hand side must be done to the right-hand side. Okay? And whatever you do is the inverse operation. Now I'm going to just put 3 questions on the board. Very easy question. And you're going to have a go at them quickly. So your first one is x minus 8 equals minus 20. So x minus 8 equals minus 20. Your second one, k divide by 4. Yeah? K over 4. K divided by 4 equals 24. Sorry, it should be 24. And the last one, minus 9x equals to minus 27. Okay? So have a go at it. What is the goal? What must go? How? And do the inverse operation. Keep your equal sign lined up throughout, and then make